Hello and welcome to my Unity game development log number 2. Today I'm going to be adding wheels to the Tiger tank as well as making the wheels turn when the tank moves. The original Tiger tank model did have wheels, however these wheels all had colliders and this was putting a huge strain on the physics system. So what I aim is to do today is to re-add those wheels and then make them move correctly without using extra colliders and costing extra performance. So as you can see, I've re-added the wheels with the colliders, the old wheels, and now I'm going to work on optimizing that. First though, let's test the wheels. So at first the wheels started causing problems with not working. I then removed the physics parts of the wheels, so I removed the suspension, I removed the wheel colliders, and so as you can see here, the wheels are now on the bottom of the tank. Now you might ask, why the low frame rate? The answer is because I haven't changed any of the scripts yet, so the scripts that are turning the wheels are still trying to access rigid bodies that aren't there, and the scripts that are trying to get the wheel collider size and make them move aren't there, so it's spewing out tons of errors. So hopefully I will now work on the scripts. So what I've done is I've removed all the references to colliders and rigid bodies and physics things in the wheels, and then I simply added some simple code to make the wheels turn backwards at a fixed pace every update. And now I've made the wheels travel forwards, and I've also made them travel forwards in relation to the speed that the Tiger tank is going. At the moment they're travelling slightly too quickly, but that can easily be slowed down, and pretty much the wheels are now done. You know, people aren't looking at the wheels, and as long as the wheels are turning, then it's good enough. The next problem I'm trying to solve is a multiplayer problem. That is that the client here with the red bar cannot see the bullets that the server with the blue bar is shooting. So for example, you can see that the red bar is going down here because the blue bar tank is shooting, but the client cannot see the bullets. Now let me explain how the bullets work. The client the player right clicks, the command gets sent to the client to fire a bullet, and the client then fires a bullet that is visible to that client. And then the client sends that information that it's fired a bullet to the server, and then the server spawns a bullet to the server, and then it simulates that bullet to all of the clients. So that means if you're the client, you shoot a bullet and you can see that bullet instantly, but the server gets notified of that bullet, creates it and simulates it later. If a client is notified of its own bullet by the server, it destroys that bullet, or else it will be rendering 2 bullets. So what I've done here is added code to tell me why the bullet was destroyed, in hopes of catching the destroyed bullet and discovering why. And as you can see here, the answer is because the bullet IDs and the owner ID was both -1. It was -1 because the code was in the start method, and that didn't give time for the server to transmit the information to the client of what the IDs were. The solution was to call this code in the update method, which would then check every frame for if the bullet should be destroyed, and this solves the problem. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some visuals for force fields in the game. So these are going to be force fields around the tank that can deflect enemy fire, or I'll also have some force field effects around the guns to make them shoot. So at the moment I'm just going to add in some force field visual effects and see how that goes. So after a bit of work I've got these, and you can see the red force fields around the guns are going to represent when you have a double damage skill activated, and the shield will of course represent when you've got a shield activated. And these skills are planned to only last for a limited amount of time, and I think the visual effect looks quite good. So next I'm going to change the water. I'm really looking for a water that doesn't need a reflection camera. So with the previous water it was rendering the entire scene again simply to get a reflection, costing a large amount of unnecessary performance. So hopefully I'm trying to get better water without having to use reflections, and I'm going to use this water asset you can see here to try and do that. So as you can see, the water has now been finished. So the aim was to get a good looking water without having to use extra reflection cameras and reflection maps, and I feel this water has done a pretty good job at doing that. It took quite a bit more work than expected. I had to go into the shader and modify some of the code to make it darker because I otherwise couldn't make that work. And it took a lot of configuring, but it's done now, and that's the important thing. So next I'm gonna work on a new map. So this is a new map that I've created, and I decided to skip all the boring parts of making the world and just show you that basically this map is a river divided by two sides, and then with lots of bridges over it. So you can see here that the bridges are going to be the main focus of the battle. And the bridges don't have that much detail at the moment, but of course this was just a mock bridge model that I found with a random material added to it. So soon I'll add a separate bridge material and make the bridges look a lot better. As well, I've used the new water on this map that I used for the old map, and I think it looks pretty good. There's not very much, but it could be more opaque. At the moment it's a bit too transparent and you can see a bit too far down into the deep areas, but that can be quickly solved. And I feel the foliage which was created by Gaia looks good. Obviously in the future, to make more varied maps, I'll have to adjust the Gaia default settings and change the foliage and that sort of thing, but for a second map, the first one is changed enough. For the second map I feel this looks very good. And there's a few things I need to get doing, like the towers. I haven't added towers to this map, so of course there's nothing to capture. There's no tiger tanks on this map yet, but it has got most of the things. So it's got the colour correction filter, all the force fields, the anti-aliasing filters, the terrain quality scripts that change things depending on the quality. So I feel everything really is going very well, and I'll just keep working at it. Next I've been improving the bridges, so as you can see here I've changed the grass sort of arch structures to being wooden bridges with supports and wooden textures and detail maps, and it just looks a lot nicer. The next thing I've done is I've re-added the towers and the GUI elements into the game. So I've added the same towers in the same sort of grid pattern here, and then I've created textures, to like put the towers on top of tall cliffs like the one you can see in front of you. And I've also re-added things like the mini-map and the crosshair in the middle of the screen and other things like that. So that is going to be it for today's video log. Hopefully I'll have another video log out next week, or any time really. Mostly just as I make changes, I document them and put them into the video log, and then that's what I make into the video. And there's various things I need to do yet, so like for example I haven't added the tiger tanks in this new map, and there's some things I need to optimise, and I need to do things like making the force fields work and making double damage and force field things activatable, because at the moment they're just on all the time and they're just visual effects, they don't actually do anything yet. And there's various just visual things that just need fixing, and the game's got a lot of development to go yet. One of the big things is that I need to set up a sort of server system. At the moment I can start it and then Unity creates a server and a client, where the client is connecting to the server at the same time as the server being running on my own machine. But of course eventually I need to have a remote server that every client connects to automatically, and of course then I need to focus more on server interactions. For example, I still haven't fixed the problem where clients can't see each other's bullets. So there's a lot that still needs doing yet, but the game's now got 2 maps which I feel are decent, and I believe that the game is coming on pretty well. Bye for now.